That's awesome.
All right, so looks like we're live. Welcome to those who are tuning in. Name's Angry Canadian, and I'm joined here by two new friends here, Drunken Poet and Zombie Main. And
Hello.
this is a little bit
What's
of a
up?
passion project of mine, and I discovered that I'm not alone in this world when it comes to talking about video game music. So I'm really glad that I have two people here that share the same passion as me, and hopefully there's more people out there. And with that being said, we'll just do a quick intro for the other two guys, and then we'll roll into like a deeper intro of us individually. So go ahead and take it away, Drunken Poet.
Okay. I am Drunken Poet. I'm sure that if you've spent any time around this fellowship here, that you've probably seen me in the chat. I do spend a lot of time making music, and I do that in an effort to hang out with my son more. And it turned into something much more. It's in a way for me to express my passion, a way for me to pass down knowledge while bonding, and it becomes a complete package for me. And I found that a lot of my joy came from the love of video game music, not just music itself. So I'm glad I have a chance to actually share this passion with you guys. And with that, I will let my son introduce himself.
Hello, guys. My name is Zombie Main. Y'all have probably heard of me from Nerdporial's channel. I like Dempsey here, or Drunken Poet. Um, I have been in chats every now and then whenever I can. I've been busy with things such as my typical life, and I've been in the music in the music industry for quite a bit. Producing now for 3 years, and I've been doing this with my dad here, and yeah, I've been enjoying it. He got me into some good games, and I loved most of the music, and I just ever since then could not stop loving the music.
For the love of music.
Awesome, awesome. It's great to see that. I mean, it's awesome you guys get to share that with like together. Like I don't have anybody to share that with, so that's really cool.
Right.
Um, well,
Yes.
with that being said, oh, go ahead. Sorry, you go ahead.
I was going to say I'm very lucky. A lot of fathers don't find that bridge that between father and son. You know, it's hard enough to bond with children sometimes. But I just got very lucky. So
Right. And
I feel
don't
very
get me wrong,
blessed.
guys. Him and I have our fights, but in the long
Oh,
run, we
yeah.
still get our things done.
That's right.
That's
The
awesome.
important part. Go ahead.
Well, we'll introduce the chat real quickly. I think for right now, the only person that is here,
It's the most
uh,
important one.
yes, the most important
Right.
person, the Nerporial life
Nerdporial.
form. Welcome.
Yes.
What's
Thank
up,
you for
nerd?
stopping by.
Welcome. We should have him on the show one of these days.
Right.
Yes, I will get to that because I have some ideas. I was going to run it through you, Drunken, and see like what we can do with it. But yeah, it's good to see you or hear you here. And so we'll get right into it. So, like I said, this podcast, I want to like focus on talking about video game music specifically and like what makes it really interesting. Why do we love it? Why do some games have like very specific sounds, or like why do other games have like completely different sounds, or get dive more into it because we could talk about music theory all day long, but like a lot of people that kind of turns them away. I just want to talk to like
Right.
the casual person, the person that really enjoys it for what it is.
Right.
So that's my goal. Now, for the future episodes, I've talking to Drunken about this, and I'll say it to you, Zombie Main, and those listening. I'm thinking what we'll do is we will focus on talking about a video game franchise like as a whole per episode. So an example is like talking about Zelda, like all of the Zelda music, and then all of the Castlevania music, or all the Sonic or all the Mario music as a whole. And then if we want to dive deeper into like a specific game, like Ocarina of Time or Symphony of the Night or like Mario 3, like we can do that, and we can like really dive into the specific tracks and like how it's used and all this other stuff. So, but I like to talk about it generally speaking because this other idea I had is I like to bring guests on like Napoleon Lifeform or Magitech Mags or Woopa Troopa, because some of
Yes.
these folks, for example, Woopa Troopa, He's never played Pokemon, if I remember seeing that correctly. But he really loves, or no, that's wrong. He loves Pokemon. He's never played, I think Zelda or like another mainstream Nintendo game, but he loves Pokemon and
Metroid.
Metroid. Yeah, that's right. He loves Pokemon and Kirby, and it would be cool to have somebody like him who grew up playing Kirby games and talking about the music from those games because they're very unique compared to the other video games out there.
Agreed.
Same with Magitech Mag. She says she grew up playing Final Fantasy, and that's like a very unique genre of music. So
Oh yeah, one of the best in my opinion.
yes.
Yes.
So like when we do those general episodes talking about the whole franchise, I like to bring those people in and they can share their thoughts and like what makes it special for them. So that's the plan. I don't know if you guys have any special ideas you would like to do for like this podcast format or oh actually sorry, one last thing.
Hey,
What I would love to do.
Canadian.
What's up?
I hate to interrupt you, but your chat's been disabled.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's what Nerd just told me.
I'm not sure how to fix that. Hold on a second. Oh, that's an unfortunate situation. Oh, wait. I'm so sorry. Is it because I made it for children or like children can watch it? I think that's why. I'm so sorry. Wow.
Well, now we know.
Yeah, I didn't think that would
Knowing's
destroy
half
the
battle.
I didn't think that would destroy the chat. Can you ask him that real quickly for me, Zombie Main?
Do what?
Can you ask him if you configure for kids that if it's made for kids if it disables the chat? I'm gonna try to bring it back. I think I can bring it back. I think it might be back. I don't know if there's a way. Yeah, I think it's back.
And yes, it is back.
Okay, good. I'm so
Okay,
sorry about
cool.
that. So now I know.
It's back. All right, it's back. Back.
All right.
Cool. Oh, my wife showed up.
Oh, hey there. Howdy.
Hello, Krista.
All right. Well, while we wait for people to add to the chat, I'll just ramble on a little bit more. This idea I had is I want to, when we dive into the music, I want to actually play the music in the video. And we know that like YouTube has this like copyright system that's really good at like, stopping it in its tracks. However,
Right.
I think I found a loophole and I explained this in a different live stream. If I play the game Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, that game has like the largest video game library for like a game, like just it has it on there to be able to listen to. And if I'm streaming the game and I'm streaming the music, I should technically be allowed to do that because you're allowed to stream that game on YouTube. And
Right.
I know there's some like loopholes where like people say you can play like 10 seconds and then talk about it in 10 seconds, talk about it. Like we'll do that as well.
Okay.
But I really want to add like more of an audio experience to this podcast instead of just like people talking and like maybe like new people join and they don't understand what we're talking about. So
Right.
we're
Good
not
call.
gonna we're not gonna test it out this time because I don't have it set up yet. But I will do some tests later on, and we'll do it on our first major episode.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. That's a great idea actually, because that way we can talk about it in more specific detail and be like, this is exactly the part I was talking about here.
Yes.
So, yeah, I love that idea because there are certain parts of certain songs that really just get to me. And I'll go over that here in a second.
I agree. Another way we can do it too is I actually I'll explain it again, but I personally like collecting the audio CDs of video game soundtracks. So I am trying to build that library on my computer so I can just pull it from my computer and play it here and there while we're having these discussions. But I'll explain that more in a second. So that's the vision that I want for this. And you guys are more than welcome to add like your thoughts and what you think we should do as well. Cause I think it should be like a community thing, like try to improve it and just make it fun overall. So that being said, we'll dive into our intros, and this is where you can take as much time as you want. and you can just talk about yourself and like why you really have a passion for video game music. And
Okay.
I give you guys the notes on what you can talk about or specifically. So I'll give it to you, Drunken Poet. You can go ahead and start us off.
Okay. Well, I will say that for me, when I was growing up, I was around for a lot of the old original game systems, and they didn't have music. It was just a game with sound effects and lights going back and forth. And then they started picking up as things went on, and the music was terrible on the old games, the pitfalls and the things of that nature. And then it started to get better and better and better. And then it hit a point where it just changed. At 8 bits, I would say, right around the Nintendo Entertainment System. And when I heard these games when I was a kid, it blew my mind. It gave me a sense of being involved in the game. It was closer. And when I hear those sounds now, it brings me back to that time. The nostalgia hits hard when I hear things like Castlevania, or when I hear things like Mega Man, or there's so many games that I could go on about from the Nintendo Entertainment System, and Zelda and Super Mario Brothers. And these games were so iconic and it changed everything. And to this day, I know people that if you play 3 or 4 notes from these songs, they know exactly what it is because they've heard it so many times. It burned into them. It's a part of who they are. And I just kind of took that to the next level and just started to add my own spin to some of these classic things. And that's what me and my son have been doing. And I would say that it turned out decently well. I mean, I've been around for the NES, the Sega, the Genesis, which had a terrible controller, by the way. But the Super Nintendo, the Mega Drives, I was around for all that stuff when it first came out, and the hype was real. So, and I don't know if it's good or not, but I passed a lot of that on to my son because he was kind of in the room for this stuff when he was growing up too. Did that drive you nuts as a kid, or what? Well, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, it really did.
Hearing that
Honestly.
same fight song again for the 300th time.
Yeah, dude, Final Fantasy
Yeah,
has its own little effect on me.
I'm sure it does. That's good stuff. Hey, and he's right. Super Metroid, that game. Oh man, that brings me back into a time when like man, I was early teens, mid-teens, and it was so good, man. The music in that game. Oh, man, this would be a great part for you to bring one of those on right now because it's so good. Um, man, it's so good. But
Yes.
yeah, Uncle Fester's Quest and DuckTales, these games have an impact on my generation. I don't know, did it have that same type of impact for you guys? Because it was retro gaming by the time you guys got around.
I still vaguely remembered the DuckTales melody for the game because I remember playing it before, but I'm sure if I listened to it again, it would sound amazing because I love that era of video game
Yeah,
music.
I'm that same. I'm in that same boat right now. Honestly, it's been quite a bit.
Yeah, oh man, it's so good. But then again, I grew up watching the cartoon as well. So that game, the music from that was almost a note for note recreation of the cartoon's theme song. And it added some different things like the moon stuff, and it had a bunch of different characters in it. It just the way that it fit the atmosphere so perfectly. There very few games do that now, in my opinion, in the modern gaming era.
I agree. I agree.
So I'm sure there's always exceptions to everything. So, but I would say that I prefer personally the old games like Castlevania just keeps popping into my mind over and over because it was so different than everything, especially Simon's Quest.
Mm.
The Castlevania 1 and 2 games were so just iconic. And I'm telling you what, one of the composers was not bad on the eyes either.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that.
They're very, very extremely talented people that were doing these things. Instead of just some random guy doing code trying to make it sound good. They brought in real hardcore musicians to come in and play these just super iconic melodies, like the opening theme from Zelda. Like I forever will have that in my mind as one of the most amazing things ever when I first saw it. The opening scene of The Legend of Zelda. It just,
Mm,
man, man, that was something else when I was a kid. Nothing quite like it at the time, especially the gold cartridge and just the way
yes.
everything was about that. It was a different level. People were used to playing the old Commodore 64 and Atari and things like that, and then this game comes out and it just superior, superior, especially in the music, not just the graphics, but especially the music. It's just, oh man, I don't know. Did you play any of the old systems like the Commodore or the old school Atari systems or anything like that?
Um, I don't think so. I don't think I actually ever gone anything older than Nintendo Entertainment System.
Right on. Well, you should definitely check it out, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's between those consoles, it's like night and day.
Mm.
Like just the capability of the 8-bit system it was more crisp. They were able to do they just had more channels. They had people come in that were just better. And he's not wrong, Commodore is for dinosaur. But that's just because I'm really old, and I'm sure Zombie Man could tell you about that.
Yeah, he's old and wrinkly. He's like a star off of Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah, there you
I don't
go.
know if you've ever seen that film.
uh,
Grumpy old
um,
man.
well, I was actually curious. Do you currently play any games? And if you do, is there anything that's come out recently that you actually enjoy the music for, Drunken Poet?
I haven't played many modern games besides Vermintide. But I really enjoy that. I have to have the audio on to play that. And normally I play games with the music down, not to bother people, but that is such an immersive experience with the audio on.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, I would recommend it. I mean, I got it for free, so it was great for me. And I had watched Az or Heel versus Babyface play it, so I was into it.
one or two.
Two.
All right, so remind me when we're done with this. I got to tell you something, but I can't reveal it on live, and you'll
Okay.
like it.
Okay. Yeah, good deal. Yeah, I have to remember that. Note to self. But yeah, other than that, I would say I haven't played a whole lot of modern games. I don't know. Would you consider that vampire game to be modern? Oh goodness, it was. Sorry, I had to move things. Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors. Are you familiar with this game? It
Sounds
has a
familiar.
Yeah, it has a really great soundtrack. Like I got it on Steam. It was like $5 or something, and it's one of those bullet heck games, roguelite.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, and wow, the soundtrack is banging. That was one of the first things I noticed. I saw Prophet of the Dragon playing it on one of his streams, and the soundtrack was so good I went and bought the game.
That's yep. That's really good. Like if they can make a soundtrack that good
Hmm.
that you can just go buy the game, like that's impressive.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I definitely recommend checking it out. The music in that is top notch.
Nice. And I would say it is modern because it came out this year or 2022, I should say, a
Okay.
couple months ago.
Okay. I just didn't know if you meant like a next gen system or something like that because I don't have any consoles. So
Oh, I guess I should specify anything that's within the last like 10 to 15 years because anything older than 15 is considered retro. I don't know, like there's not a really like a black and white number for it, I guess. Um,
okay.
but 10, I guess 10 to 15 years, anything you've played.
Um, hmm. Let's see. Well, there was a game called The Darkness, and it had the lead singer from Faith No More, Mike Patton, was the voice of the Darkness, which was an evil entity like a demon almost, right?
Hmm.
And he didn't use any effects on his voice, but it sounds like he used all of them because his vocal range is so impeccably high. It is crazy. I recommend checking it out just to see his voice acting in that.
Okay.
And yeah, The Darkness. It's an old I think PS2 game, or maybe PS3, maybe PS3. I don't know. It's been a long time, man.
I'm looking here. It shows Xbox 360, so maybe
Okay,
PS3 as well.
okay.
BioShock is not retro. All right. It'll never be retro.
Yeah.
Well, does that wrap up, I guess, your interests or who you are? And if you got anything more to say, you can add it.
I would say as far as the video game music side, we've made music, myself and Zombie Main, and we've done a couple Metroid things for Nerdporial because he's the freaking man, and I don't mind helping him out at all. He
Nice.
was actually the first person to allow me on a stream, so
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, he's my dude. Guy's awesome. Go check out the Nerdporial Lifeforms stuff if you get a chance because he's really cool and he's
And make
extremely
sure,
knowledgeable on music.
yeah,
Very knowledgeable.
Okay,
He's
good.
yeah, he's been classically trained, so he knows his stuff. And he has so much knowledge about video game composers and the names of all the songs and where they were and in what versions of what games. Like this guy, he knows his stuff. So, but anyway, I was working on a Metroid song and he heard it and he's asked me to make another one. So I'm Zombie Main and I made a song called Kraid's Demise, and it is about the boss fight of Kraid in Metroid 1. And that's what we went and we
also
riffed
did.
off of that. Justin Bailey,
We
we
also
did
did
as well.
Justin Bailey. Yeah.
Yeah, which was the opening theme but modified. We called it Justin Bailey because Justin Bailey for Metroid 1 for the Nintendo Entertainment System was a password you could put in Justin Bailey with an exclamation point and then a bunch of dashes. And that would give you all the missiles and the ice beam and right at the very end of the game. So it was like a cheat code.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. So we named it after that, and yeah, that was one of the things we've done. And I've been working on a couple other video game projects in the background, video game music projects in the background that they're not done yet. So when they get closer to completion, I will definitely let you guys know first because that's what this is all about. So, and with that, I'll pass the mic on because I talk too much.
Shut up.
Hello.
Go ahead, Zombie Main.
All right, so hello guys. Like I said, I'm Zombie Main. I basically just go with the flow with each and every single day. Like my dad said, him and I we make beats every now and then. That's if we're both bored usually and we have nothing else better to do and we just want to kill some time and spend some time together.
Yeah.
So we end up doing that, and it just so happens that all these people that he connected with just like all of our music. So we've been making stuff like Justin Bailey, Kraid's Demise, and yeah, make sure y'all go check that out. It's on YouTube. I mean, on Dempsey's page, go sub to him and sub to me, but you don't have to. I'm not gonna make you guys. But also, go check out Nerdporial and Angry Canadian. Sub to them both. Join their YouTube stuff. You'll get some cool perks, I think. I don't know. But I do like my video game music. There have been games that I've played in more modern terms. Things like the Halo series. Oh, you can ask Drunken Poet.
Oh,
I love Halo. Like that was
yeah.
my stuff growing up.
Yep. Hey, let me jump in
Uh,
real fast.
yeah,
Hey,
go for it, man.
you always thought you could beat me at that game. You never did.
Hey, shut
Um,
up! I could probably beat you now. Honestly, I probably could.
Well, you're in
I
good
bet.
company, Zombie Main, because I specialize in Halo.
Hey,
So
there you go.
Oh
we're
yeah,
in,
really? Yeah.
yeah. I'll get to it later, but yeah, that's good to
Right
hear
on.
that.
I liked the the Halo 3. main theme, especially because that was the
Ah,
first Halo game I actually played. I started on Halo
Yeah.
3 and then went back and then
ah,
continued forward. It was so cool. The
Was that
storyline
the one with the
behind
guy
it.
at the end?
Which one?
Well,
Halo
Halo
3?
3? Yeah, well, who was the guy at the end of that?
Okay, so there was two guys at the very end. It was Arbiter, which is the guy who you thought was your enemy because in Halo 2 you were fighting his kind. It
Mm.
was a whole thing. Um and then uh on Halo 4, Arbiter went somewhere, and that's like it's so weird. Anyway,
Spoilers.
but yeah, you guys will have to play the game. Anyway, another thing I liked by the same people who created Halo 3, by that same team, they created this game called Destiny, like right around that same time that Halo 4 came out. And
Ah,
this was around the
yes.
same development time that Halo 5 was starting to come out. And the first time Mom came home with Destiny, she was like, "Oh, these are the same people who made Halo 3. I know you liked that game, so you might like this one too." So I was playing the first few levels and I was like, "Whoa, this game is crazy in graphics and sound quality. It's amazing." And then Minecraft. Okay, so Minecraft has its own little thing. I grew up with Minecraft originally with no sound because I was starting to play it around alpha and beta, and then later on I stopped because life happened, and then I got Xbox One, or no, Xbox 360 edition. I was playing that for a while, and then I remember Xbox One coming out, and I was the first one to grab one of their first Xbox Ones thanks to the fact that I had a connection. And he gave me that Xbox One. I still have it to this day. It works amazingly. And Minecraft has changed over the course of time. It is so different now. It's got different sound like OSTs in it, and it's amazing. In fact, I might actually do a remix out of one of the songs in Minecraft as a nostalgic thing to me. I'm not gonna force anyone to listen to it. Also, another song or another
Uh-oh.
song track I kind of like is Castle Crashers. You ever heard of that?
Castle Crashers.
Me and Dad used to play the crap out of that.
Hey now.
Seriously.
It's true. It's true. So are those things still in chat, or is that just me?
I think they're gone because it says they're removed.
Okay, good.
If people in the chat can tell me if they're seeing some interesting some interesting bots in the chat, please let me
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Hey,
Right.
hit like before you go there, bot.
Yeah, for real. Anyway, and then my last
Share the
game I
stream out.
like, the last game, in my opinion, that I like, that I kind of kept under wraps, but Dad knows about it,
Ooh,
is Undertale. This game called Undertale that came out around, I think, 2017,
Undertale?
2018, around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that
Yeah,
game, Dad?
yeah, I remember. The creepy game.
Yes, it was creepy in its own way, but it had a good storyline behind it. It had a good soundtrack. The bosses were decently hard. I mean, it was a pretty good game, and you could basically do whatever you wanted to. You had two paths to choose. It's pretty cool.
Hey,
But
that
yeah, that's
reminds me, by the way, of a different creepy game that I forgot to mention. And I'm not really sure why I forgot. But from the horror genre, you've got the Resident Evil games that really
oh yeah,
stepped
dude.
things up, man. That was so revolutionary to
Mm,
add. It was like a watching them or like playing a movie that had these epic puzzles in it and the most frustrating controls I've ever had to get used to in a game. And going from place to place, trying to find your ribbons and trying to make sure you unlock everything, but don't use too many bullets. And oh man, what an immersive experience that was with that
Right.
music. They would hit
And
at the
like
perfect times. They made me jump a couple
right.
times the first time I played those games. So well made, so well
And
made.
then the the thing I have to say about Resident Evil is that, like Minecraft and Halo and all those other games, they aged well with time, sound quality wise. Like even now,
Yes.
Resident Evil 8, that whole they have a DLC pack which I think y'all should go check out. It's pretty cool. The gameplay's awesome. Um, but the soundtrack for 8 especially is just beautiful, dude. For real.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to check those out. Like I said, I don't have any consoles, so I'll have to just check out the music by itself.
Yeah,
I
you'll
think
have to
that would
check
be,
out the gameplay, the music. It's pretty cool, Dad. I think you'd like it. And you too,
yeah, yeah.
Angry Canadian. I think you'd like it.
Will
Oh, and
do.
Metroidvania. Hollow Knight has some of the most atmospheric. Yeah, actually, I've heard about Metroidvania. I've done some research on most of its music and whatnot. It's actually pretty sick. I can't believe
The,
I forgot about that.
yeah, well, that's like a whole genre of stuff, man. That's the ones that where you have to get certain things to unlock a door that you passed a month ago.
Right.
Yeah, those are great games, man. And a ton
Yeah.
of those games, like Symphony of the Night from Castlevania. Did I mention Castlevania is awesome? Because because that series, I'd have to say Symphony of the Night's probably my favorite my favorite console game. Just
Right.
yeah, so good. The music is epic. Epic.
And like Drunken Poet, we always had a way to access these old retro games, even if we were bored. Because not all the time I would ever have access to, things like my Xbox. So I'd go over there and I'd play on his virtual box or some of his old files that he would keep compressed in deep within the depths of the abyss of his computer. And we just play the crap out of it, like have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. And he's not wrong. Super Metroid is amazingly good.
Yeah, it
He
is.
he's not wrong.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, the Super Nintendo, like the Nintendo, it's like night and day going from one to the other. But musically, wow, what a huge step up. And I grew up playing games like Final Fantasy 2 that had one of the best openings ever. It was so epic back then, and I watch it now and it's like, oh, but back then it was amazing. That was Final Fantasy 4 everywhere else in the world. But then there was Final Fantasy well, no, I'm sorry, that was 5. No, that was 4. And then 6 is the one that Mags likes so much.
Okay.
Yes, 6 is the one. That's what we called Final Fantasy 3 here in the States. And yeah. Well, that had the Kefka laugh. The iconic Kefka laugh.
The iconic Kefka laugh. Dude, I
Yes.
know that.
Yes. So many good songs on that one. And I'm sure we'll have a time for that as well. Because Final Fantasy did so much.
Well, Zombie Main, are you currently playing any games, and any of them, like any of the soundtracks, really interesting to you right now? Anything modern?
So I mainly play Destiny more than I do any other game because I have so much content on Destiny right now. And I I basically play Destiny to my heart's content. Destiny 2 specifically because of the graphics and all the moves you can do and all the certain guns you can get. Oh my gosh, I can just
Yeah.
ramble on about how good I am at this game.
That's well, it's interesting because maybe in the future we'll talk about it. There was a big controversy with Destiny's original composer Marty O'Donnell, and
Oh yeah.
what happened with him and that in Activision, I should say. But that's like something for another time. But
Right.
yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, Destiny. Yeah, it has some great music. It definitely has some
Oh
great music.
yeah, dude. For real.
Yeah. So what about you?
Well, for
Yeah.
me, I guess yeah, I guess I should say something. Um, So for me, I grew up in a very conservative family when it comes to like what we can do and what we can't do. And so I was limited on what I can listen to. And for me, video game music was like the only outside world music that I was able to enjoy on a regular basis. So I grew up playing I started on the Nintendo 64. and I grew up playing the Nintendo 64, and then the Nintendo GameCube, and then the Wii, and then finally I got before I left home I got the Wii U. So I played those strictly Nintendo for so many years. It wasn't until I moved home that I was able to branch out, and one of my first loves of outside Nintendo was Halo, and I was able to buy an Xbox and play that.
Mm,
And then that's when I was able to experiment and play with some other random games here and there and like enjoy them. But for me, my entire reason why I'm a nerd is because of Nintendo.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, yes, I did miss out on the SNES when I was a kid, but I was able to play it as an adult
Yeah.
because Nintendo released the SNES Classic, which is
Hmm.
just an overpriced emulator,
Right.
but it still plays the same. And I really enjoyed being able to play Super Metroid, Donkey Kong Country, um,
Oh,
and what's the other one that's on there? The Kirby Superstar. Um,
yes.
but I did play Link to the Past on the Game Boy because they ported it to the Game Boy Advance.
Hmm.
So that is an SNES game that I played very early on. Um,
Oh, I have something to say real fast.
yeah,
With
go
the
ahead.
SNES, used to have a cartridge where you could put your Game Boy games into it and play them on your TV. And that was the
Yes.
way I played a lot of Game Boy games because I couldn't really, I didn't like the monochrome graphics. So
Yes, yes.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, I like graphics aren't that important to me, but come on. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, when it comes to Nintendo, my favorite all-time series has to be Legend of Zelda because that is what the music really pulled me in.
Yes.
So I religiously played it and listened to it to the point where I'm very familiar with any song, like the first note or the second note, I can tell you exactly which game it comes from.
Right.
Um, and then obviously Mario games. I know a lot of I love the music from it. I recognize it very easily as well.
Mm.
Um, Metroid would be third because I couldn't really get into it, because I wasn't able to acquire those games, but I instantly fell in love with them when I was able to play them.
Right.
And then more recently, as in maybe the last like 5 or 10 years, has been Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem has some fantastic music in it. Um, it's very, I would say it's not equal to Final Fantasy, but it's very close to it.
Mm.
Now, so favorite Mario athletic theme.
Yes.
That's hard because I like Super Mario 3's theme, but I also like the new Super Mario Bros. Theme, which is for the Nintendo Wii. That athletic theme is really good in my opinion. Um, but Mario 3, I think I'm gonna have to just stick with Mario 3 because that was one of the first games I played as a kid, like on the computer, which was like the early days of ROM and emulation.
Right. Right.
So um, so that's the chapter of Nintendo music. When it comes to Halo, that is become equally my first or second love when it comes to music.
Mm.
And I've actually made 2 videos on YouTube talking about the music of Halo. I plan on talking about every single Halo game's music as like from a casual person's perspective on like what it does to you, how does it feel, and all that other stuff. But I absolutely love the music of Halo, specifically Marty O'Donnell. He knew what he was doing. He was very, very like smart on how he designed the music and the themes of the characters. I do like some of the newer stuff. There's some controversy, like people don't really care for the newer Halo stuff. I will say real quickly that I think that the new Halo game, Halo Infinite, the music in that game is the closest Halo music, like for a modern Halo game, than the other Halo games, 4 and 5. Um, I listened to that soundtrack before I was able to play the game, and
Mm.
I was knocked off my feet by like how well
Yeah.
produced it was. It You sit down, you're like, wow, this feels like classic Halo, but it also sounds kind of modern at the same time with like
Right.
some new themes and some new motifs. So whenever we get to that, I definitely need Zombie Main here for that because I would love to just ramble on about Halo music.
Right. Me
Um,
too, honestly.
Nice.
so
Yes.
Uh, I
yeah,
do actually have a question for you, Canadian.
sure,
Um,
sure,
so you said you enjoyed the Zelda music, right?
yes.
All right. Have you ever heard? I'm pretty sure you've heard this. I feel stupid for asking, but have you ever heard of Majora's Mask?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, what's your favorite exact? Well, it doesn't have to be exact, but what's your favorite song from that soundtrack?
It would have to be a tie between Deku Palace, Clocktown theme, and what's the other one? Wait, actually, I should have asked specifically. Are you talking about like full songs or like little jingles that are in the game? Because full
Like,
songs
well,
is those. Oh,
like it could be either or. Honestly, just any sound in general.
it's those first two I told you. Deku
Okay.
Palace and Clocktown theme.
Oh,
First
I
first
love
day,
those.
first day
Yeah.
version.
Oh yeah. I like oh my god, what's it called? Uh it's when he's in the canyon. I forget the exact name for it.
Ikana Canyon.
Yes. But have you ever like listened to it reversed? I don't know why, but I like some of the actual OSTs reversed for some reason. It just
That's
sounds weird and dissonant, but I kind of
yeah.
like the dissonant feeling too. Gives it a
Really?
more
Okay.
eerie feeling.
Or
Yeah.
Ikana Valley. That's right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
kind
Yep.
of
It's Ikana
valley.
Valley. My
Yep.
bad. I just played it recently, but it was in Japanese, so like I couldn't remember the exact word for it.
Right.
Let's see, real quickly, pop culture mechanic. Have you guys ever been to a video games live? It's a live orchestral show of video game music. Not that it is an audio treat for your ears. I'm not familiar with that. I have been to like a Legend of Zelda orchestra live, one time in my life. I don't know if that's exactly what you mean, pop culture mechanic, but what about you guys?
I've
I
never been
haven't
to an
been to a
orchestral
concert.
one, but I went to a couple concerts where I saw the bands play video game music live up on stage, and it's always different in that scenario because it's the concerts I went to all had distorted guitars and bass, and there wasn't any piano or keyboard, or there was no MIDI to it at all. It was all live. Like I saw System of a Down, and I believe they did Legend of Zelda. I think it was,
Oh, that's
and
sick.
yeah, he added words to it. I'm pretty sure you can find it online. So yeah, it is pretty cool. I know a lot of people don't like his voice, but he was an opera singer at one point, I do believe. Like he's technically one of the better singers around, but his voice does weird things. He has a tremolo, or the way he uses vibrato sometimes. It just grates on people's ears. But I love him, so I don't know. But yeah, I have never seen an orchestra perform any of that. That sounds amazing.
It
Yeah,
does.
I will say this, and I say this in the nicest way possible. When
Mm,
you go to those specific venues, it attracts the most interesting people to those venues. And I'll just
yes.
leave it at that. Um, and I'll say that I'm glad that the Zelda one I went to was an outside venue because otherwise, I don't know if I would be still alive talking to you today from
Right.
from being in a closed room with people like that. So, um, but I'll finish up real quickly. So with for me, I like collecting I mean, everyone likes collecting physical media, but I like collecting physical media for video game soundtracks. So I have a good amount of Zelda soundtracks that I've been able to collect, especially here in Japan because they're a little bit more easier to acquire.
Mm,
I actually own all of the original Halo soundtracks. I don't have Halo 5 because I don't think they've ever uh, like produced it
mm.
published it. And I'm waiting for Halo Infinite for them to publish it, but um, I don't think they will ever do it. I don't know. Um, but yeah, like I have a couple random ones. Like I loved Super Mario Odyssey's soundtrack. I own the CD for that. I think it was really well made. Oh, I completely forgot. Another this last franchise that I really enjoy, and I listen to it even when I'm working out, is the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise of music.
Yes, yes.
And I mean I like the old style, the retro Sonic or the classic Sonic. Sorry, that's what it's called, classic Sonic. But
Mm,
I'm a big fan of modern Sonic, specifically the music from the modern Sonic games, um, which is anything that's Sonic Adventure and newer.
Okay.
Um, and one of these days we'll talk about Sonic music. So, but
Awesome.
I own like one CD of like one of the games, and I like to try to own more. But that music's amazing, um, especially the modern music because it's designed for high speed platforming genre. So you have to make music that's like high speed and like really hype and yeah, it's just amazing. So, um,
Yeah.
real
Oh,
quickly, I'll highlight some people. You can go ahead and say some stuff.
was gonna say, Doom had an amazing soundtrack, and there was a whole
Oh,
controversy about that because they stole a bunch of songs from like Pantera and a whole bunch of people like that. It's
mm,
crazy, crazy what they got away with back then. Like those developers just didn't care. But that was such a good soundtrack for back in the day. And then there's like Contra. I can't believe I didn't mention Contra. Like
go
wow.
ahead.
Like, these games, man, those sounds from Contra are burned into my brain in a way that I think about up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start in my sleep sometimes. Like, that, and then you've got games like Spy Hunter and Ghosts and Goblins, Arkanoid, Rygar. I mean, wow, these games are just so it's so iconic, man. I can't wait to get into this more in depth with you. It's gonna
Yes,
be fun.
yes. So for me, that pretty much wraps it up. Who I am and what I enjoy, and for you guys as well.
Yeah,
Um, and yes, we will do our episode one. So we're gonna kind of wrap things up here soon because I don't want to be more than an hour for this, at least episode zero.
yeah.
But I'm gonna talk to you guys behind the scenes on what we should do for episode one. But we have obviously a lot of different videos or choices.
Mhm.
Um, I have an idea, and I'll let you know afterwards, so we don't spoil it for people. But we're gonna do, for those who don't know, we're gonna do talk about games in the franchise as a whole, the music from the franchise as a whole, and if it's requested or people really want to talk about a specific game from that franchise, we could do that as a separate live stream and really dive deep into it.
Mm.
Um, but we want to cover. My goal is I want to cover stuff from the NES all the way up to I guess the PS4 or anything, or even now, like anything that comes out now on PC, it's fine as well. And that also includes the handheld games because chiptune is really popular from the handheld games like Game Boy
Yes,
and
yes,
the Nintendo DS and stuff like that. So we don't want to leave those guys out.
right.
Um, and let's see, trying to see if there's anything else we should mention. Um,
Say not. I think we pretty much covered all the basics on here. Is what it seems like. It seems like we did a pretty good job of getting all that stuff out there in the open now. Now that everybody understands what the concept of the show is, we can
yep.
come back and hopefully knock this one out of the park because I have a really good feeling about this.
One thing I just remembered, one thing that I find myself at fault with is I don't listen to a lot of new, like new as in like I've never heard them before, video game soundtracks. So like for an example, I've played Castlevania. I haven't played it all the way through. I've just dabbled with it. But on
Mhm,
when I was coming back home this morning, I was listening to the OG Castlevania soundtrack, and I
mhm,
was just knocked off my feet by it. I'm like, how am I just now hearing this? Like, this is
right.
amazing. Like, so my goal is through this podcast, I want to actually like do some real research and like listen to newer stuff and like if people suggest stuff. Like I've already seen a lot of suggestions in the chat. I really want to dive into some other franchises that I'm not familiar with and see like how they are because I'm sure I'm missing out on a whole bunch of good music by like sticking to what I really enjoy. So
Right. Yeah. I'm guilty of that as well, man. I have a comfort zone when it comes to video games, especially the old school ones. I find myself playing them over and over again.
yes, yes.
Shelby, hello.
Hey, Shelby.
Yes.
Thank you all for coming, though. I really appreciate it.
We'll say another really, really banging one is Mega Man. The
Oh,
the
yes, of course, yes.
Yeah, the Mega Man, those guys. Wow. Yeah, we'll get into that more. I have a feeling that's going to be one of the popular ones. And I may or may not know somebody who's really, really, really good at Mega Man. So
So I'll do this. I'll open this up to the chat. For those who are watching, if you guys can give me individually one unique franchise you would like us to talk about in the future, I'm gonna write it down and I'll put it in our like catalog of stuff that we need to talk about and do research on, and we'll get to it. I just because I already told you what I like: Zelda, Mario, Halo, Sonic, and then you guys told me what you like. You know, Castlevania, Contra, Destiny, but we want to keep this going. So go ahead, chat. Type in like something you guys would really like us to talk about. We pretty much have Final Fantasy already in the books, the Kirby series, the Mega Man series, uh, Castlevania, Metroid, obviously, Zelda, Mario. But if there's like something out there that's like maybe not as well or not as popular, let us know, and I'll write on my list here.
What do you think about Dragon Quest, which was
Oh
Dragon
yes,
Warrior here in the
yes.
Oh
States?
yeah,
I'm
dude.
so sorry. Yes, I completely forgot about that. That is definitely on the list. I want to specifically dive into that because I'm not super familiar with that.
Oh man, that's so much content. That
That
is so
is
good. That's a good one.
it's
Yeah, you won't be
it's a lot.
disappointed. That was one of those iconic games that was like one of the very first RPGs I ever got. So, yeah, I have a pretty good emotional connection with that as well. Donkey Kong
Oh yeah,
Country,
Donkey Kong. I'm so sorry.
Chrono
That is
Trigger.
another very. I love the Donkey Kong series music. So that is definitely on the list. But yep. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm writing your
Chrono
guys'
Trigger.
stuff down.
It's so good. I'm so glad
Mm.
he said that one. Sorry.
No, you're
I
good.
was,
You're good.
yeah, those
All
are
right.
those games back in those JRPGs from the Super Nintendo era. Man, those are so good. Um, yep, I can't wait to get into them. That's going to be fun for me doing research. Like, I look forward to this.
Yes. Yes.
So,
It's funny because you mentioned Dragon Quest. Like I hear that jingle, like the main jingle. I don't know what it's called. I hear it like so often because I live in Japan, so like they use it in
oh,
advertisements and some other stuff, and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I know that's Dragon Quest, and I only hearing a little shred of it, so I'm really curious like what the rest of it sounds like. So
right. Yeah, start out in the beginning and watch the evolution of the music. It's pretty cool. I mean, it builds slowly and you'll be able to tell that it's just get more and more capability as the consoles give greater capacity. So, yeah, that's one of the good ones. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that, I'm sure. Maybe probably multiple episodes on things like that big, you know.
yes, yes. Um,
So,
Well, that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to accomplish today. We obviously found out that StreamYards is the way to go, and I'm gonna have to put some money into this because I don't like this watermark. Oh, Yoshi's Island or the Yoshi series. Yes, that is
oh
actually a
yes.
very unique series.
Oh yeah, Abe's Odyssey. Oh yeah.
Oh, Abe's Odyssey.
Yeah, that game's weird, man.
All
I
right.
love that. Yeah, that's a strange one. It's unlike anything else. You should check it out at least one time in your life just to see what it's like. It's a very unique experience.
Nice.
Yes.
I wrote all these suggestions down, so I need to bookmark these comments too. Oh, whoops, I forgot about this one.
By the way, I really do want to do at least one individual episode on Super Mario 3.
Oh,
I want to throw
for
that out
sure.
there. That's one of those games that was super iconic to a lot of people. I was just watching somebody play it earlier here tonight.
Yeah, somebody. I wonder who that somebody was.
Yeah. But yeah, this was great for me. Thank you for having me on. I much appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming, both of you. I like
Yeah, thank you for
meeting
having me,
people.
man.
I like meeting people that enjoy the same stuff that I do, and we can like bounce back off each other and talk about it. And I like to do this with more people, obviously, like people that are very passionate about one franchise. So I'm hoping to get this conversation going even more in future episodes. With that being said, you guys, since you guys are actually making music, you guys could go ahead and shout out what you guys are working on or what you're doing before we wrap up.
Okay. Go ahead, Zombie Man. Go ahead.
Oh, maybe some internet problems.
Okay, yeah, probably. All right. Well, I have been working on a bunch of different things. So, like, we put out an album on Halloween Day that was called "Not Quite Insane," and it's all over the internet. It's on Spotify and uh, Apple Music and iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the
So
stuff. It's all over the
me
place.
and Dad are
Oh,
Oh, here it comes.
okay.
actually
Oh, okay,
yeah,
maybe not.
there, hey, there, yeah.
hold on a second.
Basically, what he's
Hold on a
saying
second,
is,
Zombie Man.
uh,
Here, I'll just remove him real quickly, and he can
Okay.
like reset his connection.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're
But
good.
yeah, say we put out that album. It's all over the place. Then I've also been working with Nerdporial here on a Metroid project, and I don't know what is going to be happening with that. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that to him to explain and to announce. But I will say that I have also been working behind the scenes with creators like Pips from the White Cloaks. We've been working on something together, and that is vastly outside my comfort zone, and it was a tremendous amount of fun. I
Oh,
have, yes, yes. I don't want to say anything about that either because it's not my release. So, but it was a lot of fun to work with him. I learned a lot of things, and it made me have a passion for something I had no idea I had.
testing,
So,
testing.
yeah, that's way better.
yeah, you're good.
Hey, we're back. Hey,
All right,
yeah.
and I will be working on a couple more things. And like I said at the beginning, I have some video game music that is not quite ready yet. So when I get those things done, I will let you know. You'll probably be one of the first people to find out, to be honest.
Nice, nice.
So, hey, go ahead and try again, Zombie Man.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool, because it's starting to glitch, which means my phone's about to die and my hotspot's about to go out. Okay, so I'm kind of limited here. So I'm going to be working on a Minecraft beat for nostalgia, of course. That's in my own free time. Me and Dad, we're going to be working on the Nerdporial stuff. But yeah, make sure y'all go check out our SoundCloud, our YouTube. I'm sure my dad here will give y'all the ability to check it out through his YouTube. It will be linked somewhere. I know that. But yeah, my SoundCloud's there, his SoundCloud's there. Everything's good. And
Real
I
fast.
post, huh?
Hey, yeah, it's on my profile. The links to all of our stuff is on my profile on the Dangerous Dempsey's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Drunken Poet, Dempsey Drunken Poet.
I'm gonna try to collect all these links for future videos so we can just like have the mods or like I can post or you guys can post them in the chat periodically. I forgot to get those from you guys ahead of time, so I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah.
No, it's
That
okay.
that's
It's okay.
episode
That's the
0,
whole
right?
point of this episode.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so before Zombie Man gets disconnected because of his internet, um, as for me, I've put out 2 videos talking about the series is called Rediscovering Our Love for the Music of and then fill in the blank. And right now it is Halo. I've done Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2. My goal is to do the rest of the Halo games, so I'm working on Halo 3 right now. I haven't written a script yet. I've got all the footage recorded. So
Hey,
I'm working on that. Oh, what's up?
make sure if you are getting it, make sure to tie in the original game. And this is from a more modern standpoint of an outlook here. I think because I don't know what you're doing. So honestly, I think you'd be better off covering both the original tracks and then the new remastered edition version of those tracks because they're both different tracks, but they're both the same, like similar was. But yeah,
Production quality is different and better.
the production
Yeah.
quality
Yes,
is different,
yes.
and
Yes.
there's some different actual tracks than there is in the older one. So
Yep. I prefer the
Yes.
mix of the remaster personally.
yeah,
Just me.
Yes. Well, I think I might do that with a separate video because I like to talk about just that game's music. but I
Okay,
definitely had
okay.
an idea for doing that, and I'm glad that you said it too, because it means it's going to be a good idea to like
Right.
compare the game's soundtracks, because yeah, they do have similar themes and stuff that's used. So yeah, I will do that. I plan on doing that for Zelda games as well, and some other Nintendo games, making that type of format video. And then
Nice.
of course I'm doing this podcast with you guys now, and I think that's about it for my content creating. I um actually I forgot to post my stuff in the description, but that's not a big deal. Um, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, and I pop into other people's live streams or in their chats just to support them. And
Yes.
that's about it for me when it comes to upcoming projects. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what you guys do too. And I'm hoping, when I already told you this, Drunken, when your workload kind of calms down a little bit,
Mhm.
if you can make something for this show so we can have like a really cool opening and
Oh yeah.
or outro as well or whatever. So there's
Yeah,
no
and I'll
rush
make sure
because
to help him out with that
yeah, you
too.
too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For sure, you too. Um,
Yes. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, we've got you. And not only that, but I may have other people who can assist us too. With yeah. Yep. You'll see. I have
We'll get
ideas.
you in here, Nerporeal. I definitely need you in here. Um, but thank you everybody who came by, stopped by. I know it's pretty late for you folks in the US. Thanks for dealing with the technical difficulties. We'll make sure that next time we don't have any issues or minimal issues.
Right, like a
Um,
little less buggy maybe next time.
All
yep.
right.
That's what
With
we're
that being
striving for.
yes. So with that being said, I'll end the stream. You guys can stick around. We'll stick around in the studio, but I'll end the stream for those watching. I'll just give a quick shout out to the people still watching. Hold on a second. Uh,
Nerdporial! Go
Nerporeal,
subscribe!
thanks again for sticking around, man. Really appreciate it. Um, until then, we'll catch you guys in the next live stream or in the next video. Thanks again.
Well, I wish you all luck and fortune.
Stay safe, everyone.